Welcome to the Inspiration Station hosted by Joshua Lenox, the place to fill up your tank if you're in need of encouragement and motivation.
Hey, everybody. Some of y'all maybe have heard y'all heard the intro. I kind of jammed to it. It's got a little bit of a little jazzy funk type of feeling or whatever. But anyway, y'all, this is Joshua Lennox, the Inspiration Station. And y'all, what do we do over yonder? We upsize in 2025. You better know it all day, every day. I hope that y'all have been proclaiming that over your lives every day. Hope that you've been affirming that over your lives because we are going to get whatever it is we speak. This mic is not going to distract me right now. I don't know what it's doing, but anyway, we have got to continue to speak that we upsize in 2025, and not just in one area of our lives, but in all areas of our lives. So welcome to the Inspiration Station, y'all. Y'all already know how we do. This is Friday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all, I did a reel, I think, the other day, and I said Central some I don't know. I jacked it up really bad, and I went back and looked at the video, and I was like, I wasn't about to edit that because it was right at the end. But I was like, I have been saying Central Standard Time since I probably was a child, so I'm like, I'm trying to figure out why I got tongue twisted or whatever it was. But anyway, I hope that everybody's day has been a great day so far. If you are watching right now live and you want to go ahead and just let me know how your Friday has been, how your week has been, no matter what it is, y'all, we just want to just always speak well of ourselves, well of our day. But let's be open, honest, and vulnerable about how we feel because that's what we're about over here at the Inspiration Station. And I don't know about y'all, but my week and my day has been very stretching. And what I mean with stretching is that there have been some situations and opportunities that I've been involved with that have really caused me to use my faith, really stretch my faith. So it can be uncomfortable, but I think also at the same time, it is amazing when you face new challenges, when you face new obstacles, when you face things that put your faith. Ooh, excuse me, y'all. When your faith is put to the test, or when you're put into you have new circumstances or new surroundings, anything new might be a little scary, y'all. But guess what? What do we do over here at the Inspiration Station? We upsize in 2025. So in order for us to upsize, we've got to be challenged. We've got to be stretched beyond our comfort zones. It's just, y'all, in discomfort, or the word discomfort and being uncomfortable, the word comfort is literally in those things. So we got to learn how to find some level of comfort even when we're uncomfortable, because it's going to take us to a place that we've never been before. It's going to take us to a new season in our life that we've never seen. And that's what we need to be after every day. Be in pursuit of the new, y'all, right? Also, in the new, as we talked about last week, the KNEW, the things we already know we've been destined for, we've been purposed for. So without further ado, I just want to say, first of all, I'm excited. I'm super excited. Y'all know this is just going to be a quick nugget, as we always do, a nugget to kind of hold you over, kind of like that meal that you need to hold on to until you get your next meal. But hopefully not for a week that you be waiting for the next meal like you waiting on this. But anyway, I hope that everybody has been sharing these videos out, y'all. We are broadcasting live right now on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Also, this will be later on Spotify, Amazon Audible, and y'all know, as I said, the last two episodes, we're working on the Apple ministry. We're going to get on there at some point. I had an Apple ID, y'all, but it was so long ago, and trying to get back into it is asking me for a phone number that I couldn't remember if I tried. So, which is kind of rare for me because I remember so much, y'all. I've always been told my mind is like an elephant because I can remember a great deal. I don't know if anybody else is like that out there. I can remember everything, even specifics. That's why you shouldn't lie to me, because I'll have receipts for you, even if it was decades ago. So be mindful with that with me. Tell the truth. But anyway, again, I'm excited, y'all. And one quick thing before we jump in for today, the weather here, I'm pretty sure if y'all could tell me in the comments what the weather is like where you are right now, I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping that somebody is excited about the warmer weather that's happening. The sun is out longer. You kind of put your shorts on for a little bit, but, be mindful and keep your jogging pants or something, or your sweatpants by, or your jeans close by. Y'all, the weather got down here in the last couple of days, 2 nights ago. It was ridiculously crazy. I felt like it was the Wizard of Oz. I really felt like I needed to click my heels 3 times so I could stay home. Thought I was about to go be swept off or something, but it was raining. It was hail. It was wind. It was uh, just everything is flooding and everything, thunder, lightning. I mean, it just felt like Captain Planet. I don't know if I'm telling on my age a little bit, but if y'all remember Captain Planet, there, Earth, wind, water, fire. I might be skipping it or messing it up, but Captain Planet, he's a hero. Anyway, but I felt like all the elements of the world were happening at the same time. I see Colombia is nice and cool there. Great. Congratulations on that. Maybe it sounds like your weather is a lot more stable than it is here. But anyway, what? Well, first of all, let's get in. So we've done our welcome. We kind of everybody's here. Everybody is coming in. So I know this is at a time sometimes where people are getting off from work or might still be working. But I like to throw this out. It's kind of like Friday night time with the Inspiration Station, just for you to catch it. A lot of people watch it later on in the days, and I see that the numbers are just continuing to increase. It seems like the most numbers I'm seeing are on Facebook, which is amazing, and I'm just excited about that because it's going to continue to grow. This our inspiring each other and encouraging and motivating is going to continue to just be widespread all over. So I'm excited about that. We all need encouragement. We all need inspiration. We all need motivation, but we also always need a push to take action. So we are all up in here and we're about to keep it moving. Again, just for those who are new listeners, is just what is the Inspiration Station? What is it? What is it? And who is that? Well, the Inspiration Station is me in a sense, but it's also you. Inspiration Station was just a nickname that I was given back in 2012, and I just took it and ran with it, but didn't know what that was going to mean later on. And now here we are today doing a podcast and also a show. Could be a TV show soon. You just stay tuned. All right. So again, this is where we come not only to get your cup filled up, but also to get you inspired to make a movement, do something with your life. You're not just being motivated and encouraged to just feel good about yourself or feel good about your life, but also there is a level of getting you to take steps towards your dreams, your visions, your goals, objectives, making sure you're living your life fully on purpose, and not having any limitations or restrictions that you might be holding yourself to. So another thing is what to expect from this. Again, I just kind of mentioned that, but also not just you hearing from me and hearing little snippets sometimes about my life, but also I want to hear about your lives. And also there'll be people on here that are going to be interviewed. You never know how this is going to go. You just don't get so comfortable just looking at me. We're just getting started. This is the 4th episode, y'all. Hello, somebody. After this would have been the Inspiration Station. Has been going for a month, so it's 4th episode. So looking forward to more and more and more to come. But you just never know what you're going to see around the corner, and I'm not going to give you too much because I want you to always stay on the edge of your seats. But we'll have guests and it'll be interviews, all kinds of things of people you might know, people you might be very influenced by and you love from a distance, or people you've never met before that you're going to get to know. And then never know, I might randomly start grabbing some of you all to come in and talk. So be on the lookout, and it'll be so much more. I just can't wait to see how this stuff continues to unravel and we'll see what God is going to do. Because again, this is really a leap of faith. What is a leap of faith? You take that jump and you just don't know what you're jumping into. But what I firmly believe is when you take leaps of faith, take a chance, take a risk, one or two things is going to happen. Either you're going to fly or either God is going to catch you before you fall. Okay. So let's get started on in today. Our title for today, what we're going to be talking about is just in case. You can type that in the comments with me or say that out loud to yourself right now. Just say just in case. And I'm not talking about the Jaheim song, just in case. I'm not talking about that song, but it was a really good song. Did anybody know Jaheim? Maybe, maybe not, but wonderful R&B singer. But yes, just in case, what does that even mean? I think I wanted to kind of start with some examples, just in case. You might look at the weather and you see that it might be some rain later on in the forecast, and you're like, I might want to grab that umbrella or a raincoat. I don't know too many people who wear raincoats anymore, but just in case, grab that raincoat just in case. What if you're going out of town, or maybe you're going to spend the night at somebody's house? I'm kind of thinking back as a kid, you go spend the night at someone's house, and it's like, I might want to take an extra pair of socks, or maybe even a different pair of underwear just in case. And it's like, well, why would I do that? I don't know. Anything can happen. So just take it, just do it just in case. Um, Also, think about if you're at the grocery store and you're not really sure. You might have a list. If you're like me, I go to the store. I don't need a list. I can put up in my head what I need, and I will go in that store, get everything I need, and come right out. Never look at a list. Never look at my phone. Anything. But sometimes you may be, going through the store and you look and you're like, do I have enough of this, or should I get this? I don't know. Let me go ahead and just get it just in case. Sometimes you might, using seasoning as an example, somebody might say, do I need some more garlic powder? I think I got enough, but you know what? Let me go ahead and grab some just in case. Also, if you're like me, I know sometimes, you might need a quick snack, just something so you don't get hangry and you end up tearing up something. But you might be going off for the day or something, and you might not eat right away. It might be some time that's going to take, maybe a couple of hours or so. You like, yeah, let me take some of these snacks with me just in case, because you never know, maybe the specific time where you're going to eat, or when all the things that you're needing to take care of are going to be over with. So let me just grab something just in case. And even as I'm saying this, just kind of think about some things you tell yourself often about, let me do this just in case. Let me say this just in case. Let me get this just in case. Think about all those scenarios that you typically think about when you're using that phrase just in case. You might not say it, but you think it. Also, I think a funny story, and I'm pretty sure many of you all can identify with this. I heard it many times when I was growing up, and I heard it in my friends' households, and around my family and things of that nature. But people would always say, you leave the house and it's like, make sure you have on a clean pair of underwear, socks, and make sure you got your deodorant, and make sure whatever, just in case something happened. You might get in a wreck and they got to take you to the hospital, and you go to the emergency room and they got to take your clothes off and stuff. And I just never understood that at first. I was like, why is that so important to make sure that I have on clean underwear, clean socks, and my hygiene is on point, in the sense, just in case I get into a wreck or something happens or anything. I'm like, what does that even make sense about? But I can understand it now as a grown man. You kind of want to make sure you're kind of good, if you know what I mean, just in case something happens and you got to go to the emergency room, and you're in front of other people and things of that nature. So I think that's a funny story, but it also kind of shows you how, again, you just never know what's going to happen. We never always just know what's going to happen in our lives. Even in saying that, in light of that, think about worst case scenario. And again, what does worst case scenario? Some of y'all are probably saying, I know what that is, but a worst case scenario is defined actually as the most severe outcome that could reasonably or possibly happen in a given situation. I'll read that one more time. Y'all, I just learned how to read a couple of days ago. Hooked on Phonics does work for me because I've really advanced quickly. But we're going to read that one more time. But worst case scenario is actually defined as the most severe outcome that could reasonably or possibly happen in a given situation. Now, some of you all, I'm pretty sure you don't have to tell on yourself. I'm sure it's probably your family member, your cousin, your friend, somebody you know. It's not you, though, that might go to the worst case scenario typically when certain situations or circumstances arise. I don't know. Maybe you might think that if it's storming outside so bad or raining so bad, and you have somewhere to go, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to go because suppose I go out there and I get into somebody runs into me, or I might slide off the road or something. You think the worst case scenario in this situation. It's like, who told you that you were going to get into a wreck? Who said somebody's going to hit you? Why do you have to go to the worst thing? You get into a new relationship, and they seem really, really good. They seem really good to you. You really like them and everything. And then you're just like, but what if they cheat on me? What if their eyes go to somebody else and they just start having more interest in them, and then they don't want to be with me anymore, and they cheat on me or they break up with me? And it's like, why are you going to the worst case scenario and nothing's even happened? Why is your mind going there? Well, you know what? Going to the worst case scenario is not actually unhealthy. It's not unhealthy to do that. Sometimes we want to look at what the worst case scenario might be in any situation that we're making, any risk that we're taking. Somebody might buy a house, somebody might you might get a new job, and what again? You get a new job, you've been working it for a while, and things of that nature. Things are going really well, but then stuff starts to look funny, and then it's like, they're talking about possibly doing layoffs, and it's like, okay, well, what's the worst case scenario? They lay me off, and it's like, okay, well, if they lay you off, guess what? Just like you got this job, you can get another job. Um, so looking at the worst case scenario sometimes is just another way of saying, what's the worst thing that can happen if I do this? Say, like, if you want to start a new career or you want to move to another city or even another country, y'all, sometimes I really like to move to the UK. And I'm really thinking about it because, all of this stuff that's going on in the USA right now. Y'all, that's my little play around UK accent. But anyway, you might want to move to a new state, a new country, and you've never done it before. And it's like, oh, but I'm scared because suppose if I go over there and I don't know what to do and I don't know how to speak languages, or I don't know how to adapt to the culture. I don't know how to adapt to my surroundings. This is a new place. I don't like new. I don't like changes. It's like, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? You probably can always come back home if you need to. Also, though, let's make sure we're thinking while we're thinking about the worst case scenario, let's think about also the best case scenario in that, in anything. Sometimes we're always drawn to, most times, let me say this, most times people are drawn mostly or quickly to the worst case scenario because they probably have been living in survival mode most of their lives. They also have probably been dealing with situations where they didn't have a lot of say in it. They didn't have a lot of power or control or autonomy in it. The decisions may have been made for them as a child or even as a teenager, even as a young adult. So sometimes it's like, well, let me go ahead and think about what the worst thing is, because I'm always in a state, almost like a Boy Scout. I'm always in a be prepared state. I need to know, in a sense, how to prepare just in case something happens. Also, to prove my point in this, I want you guys to think about, go back to what I was. Uh-oh, can everybody hear me? Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I think I hit the mute button by accident, but here we are. We keep it moving. So, to prove my point, as I was saying, when we think about worst case scenario, it doesn't mean that's unhealthy. Sometimes you need to run back. I love you all too in Canada. We love Canada in America. We really, 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 really do. We appreciate you all. I want to say, when you talk about the worst case scenario, there is a level of making sure we don't live there. Sometimes thinking of worst case scenarios, it just makes things more practical. It also allows you to prepare for the worst so that you have some level of a game plan, or you have some level of strategy. So if you need to switch your feet up, in a sense, you have something that you can use to work through that. But on the other side of that, we don't want to live there, because if you stay in the worst case scenario, there's nothing positive that's going to come there, because you're going to think that everything is against you. You're going to think that everything is going to always go left or go down. I keep saying, I was like, go left. You think that something's going to happen bad always. You're going to always look for the negative. So to prove my point really quick, how many of y'all have car insurance? I won't report you if you don't, because they can throw you in jail if you don't have car insurance. But I want to use that for an example. Y'all don't have to tell me. If you don't have car insurance, don't say nothing. But if you have car insurance, what is that? This is to make sure, just again, back to my point, just in case something happens, just in case I get into a wreck or a fender bender, or just in case my car breaks down and dies on me, I have coverage, right? So again, I don't know about y'all, but I have always felt a certain type of way about car insurance. I love it because we need it, and it's very beneficial. You need to make sure you have it. However, I sometimes would like to get that money back, or at least a percentage, because it's like, if nothing has happened in a whole year or something about this premium that I pay, can I get a little bit back? Now, I know some actual companies actually do that. So we take our hat off to them for that, but I've never seen it. I've never seen it with what I have. I'm not going to disclose what car insurance company that I use, but it's something we have to have. And it's like, well, I have this car insurance. I've never had any issues, no fender benders, no wrecks. My cars have always been great, but I'm paying this money out all the time, every month or every 6 months or even just yearly. And it's like, for what? But why though? Well, it's just in case something happens. Not to say that something will happen, but just in case. Think about it like this too, to show you the two parts of that. Just in case something happens, I'm covered. So worst case scenario, you go out and drive somewhere, you get into a bad wreck, okay? Your car is totaled. Well, guess what? Because you're covered, all of this is going to be taken care of. You pay your deductible or whatnot. Hopefully, the other person has insurance. If not, they go into jail. But anyway, hopefully they have insurance. But that's going to be taken care of through the insurance company. They file the claim, they do all of the things for you. You might have to sign a few things, and then guess what? You can get another vehicle. So because you are covered, you're able to do something is able to be provided for you, of course, that you wouldn't be able to do on your own. Also, it's the damage and things that have been done, that can be handled for you. So now, because you have this, just in case it was in place, that can be a burden lifted. But guess what? If you didn't have insurance, you get out of a car, you go into jail because you didn't have car insurance. But no, you're out of a car, and now what? You don't have any assistance, and again, you're not covered. On the other hand, when we talk about we're not wanting to live in the worst case scenario, if I have car insurance and I know I'm covered, there's no need for me to go out every day in the car and say, I hope I don't get into a wreck. I hope I don't get into, well, you know what? I think I could do this from home. Let me just order this stuff off of Amazon instead of going, because I don't want to happen to, get into a wreck or something happen. Somebody might hit me. So, let me just stay home. And it's like, that's where we live. You're living in the worst case scenario versus knowing I'm covered just in case something happens. This can be applied to any situation. Again, I can go back to relationships. In relationships, you think, okay, well, what happens if they are unfaithful to me? Okay, well, I can think, well, what's the worst case scenario? Okay, we break up, we're no longer together, and maybe I heal from some things, and then I start dating again. Or depending on somebody, they might say, we might have to really talk about it, sit down with it, go to couples counseling or whatnot, and see if we can work it out, if we can rectify it. Those are the worst case scenarios. But if I live in the worst case scenario all the time, I'm gonna you could be paranoid. Everything they call you, and they're really short with you. Okay, they must be with somebody else. See, I knew something like this was gonna happen. They don't text you back right away. Okay, they must be talking to somebody else. They must be out with somebody else. So it's like you're always living in the worst case scenario, which you're going to end up probably ending the relationship at some point, because you're always expecting something bad to happen, always expecting the negative to happen. We can apply this to anything in our lives. Say you haven't been working for a while and you have a certain level of talent, skills, and abilities that you used to apply all the time. And you were very good at what you did, but you've been away from that for a long time, or you've been away from living on your own. Maybe you've been married and now you went from married to being divorced. And it's like, what does my life look like now since I've, no longer been married? So I'm on my own again. I haven't been on my own in a while. So what is this going to look like? So now I got to restart. I got to reboot. I got to get out there again. So it's like, if I'm going to maybe, again, going back to the job situation, if you haven't been doing a certain talent or skill in a while, you can probably hesitate to jump back out there and put those skills to use, or go back into that career field. And so you're thinking, well, what's the worst case? Well, I'm like, well, what's the worst case scenario that's going to happen if I jump out there again and try? Well, I can try again, or maybe I can go in another direction. And let me say this too. I was talking to a client today, and they was telling me how they have such a fear of failure. And I was like, fear of failure? And I listened to them a little bit more, and I was like, is it that you have a fear? They said they also have a fear of disappointing other people. And I was like, they don't want to fail because they don't want to disappoint anyone. And I was like, is it the fear of failure and not wanting to disappoint anyone? Or is it that you have a fear of wanting to take, like we talked about, I think a couple of episodes back, you have a fear of actually betting on yourself, because if something doesn't happen right, you're going to look at yourself. You look at yourself like you have you've embarrassed yourself, or like you don't know what you're doing. And I was like, well, even if you tried, isn't that is that really the failure? And also, when we fail, is it really failing? When we fail, is it really failing, or is it a redirection? Is it to point us in the right direction that we're not sure of, or maybe it was to teach us something, to take us? And I always say it, y'all. I always say the only L's we take are lessons. We don't lose. You're not a loser. You're always a winner. You're always going to win. Even when you try something and you fail, you still win. Because guess what? Now from that point there, you should look and say, so where do I go from here? What do I learn from this? What am I taking from this to move forward? I think Tyler Perry, I'm sure many of you know who that is. I remember him saying he's never failed. That's the way he wants to frame it, because he feels like every opportunity that he has, what we would deem as a failure, it was just steps to take him where he was supposed to go. So he never feels like he's ever failed because everything was used to point him in the right direction. So I know I kind of spun off a little bit, because when I think about talking about failure, sometimes when you're wanting to do something, you're always thinking about the worst thing that can happen. I don't want to fail. I don't want to lose. It's like, you're not failing anything. You are jumping out. Yes, we learn from our mistakes, if you want to see it that way. But also, again, we learn from them, but we also want to make sure we're taking something from that. If we make mistakes every day. I mean, I don't. I'm perfect and I don't make any mistakes. I don't have any issues. And I don't know if y'all could hear the lightning flashing really loud outside, and the lightning and stuff because of that lie. But even with our mistakes, it's one thing to continue to make the same mistake over and over and over again. But it's one thing to make a mistake in different areas differently. But you're never going to fail. We're going to make, again, let me say this, you're never a failure. You're going to fail. It's inevitable. It is inevitable. You're not a failure, though. You're going to fail, which again, is all about how you want to look at it. Do I have to look at the worst case scenario and always think that the worst thing is going to happen? It's always going to be negative. The shoe is always going to drop. Or can I say, I'm willing to take this risk on whatever it is and consider the worst case scenario, but I'm not going to live there? Can I consider the worst case scenario, but not live there? So I'm kind of wrapping this thing up, y'all. I hope I am making all the sense in the world to you, because again, I'm not saying that it's unhealthy to think about the worst case scenario. It's actually very healthy to do that, but we don't want to live there. This is just to give you some level of preparation that, okay, if this does happen, how do I regroup? How do I move? How do I shift? How do I change my strategy? How do I change the way I see it? How do I change the way this is actually going to be helpful for me as I move forward? We don't have to look at things so negative. Oftentimes when I talk to my clients or just anybody, I don't always like to live in the, oh, that's good, that's bad, that's right, that's wrong, that's positive or negative. I like to live in the space of saying that's healthy versus unhealthy. Now, those things that I just spoke can be applied, of course, but a lot of things we are very subjective from being healthy versus unhealthy. Somebody can give me an example and say, well, I love ice cream, and well, they say that yogurt is better for you than ice cream. It's like, okay, is it better, or is it just that yogurt's a healthier choice? Because we don't want to say ice cream is bad. It's not. It's pretty good too, depending upon what you get. I don't really do sweets all that much, but I used to tear up some Rocky Road. Let me tell you something. I just felt something. I need to pull myself back, because it's like it's in my head and I can see it in the frozen food section. Okay, y'all, I'm back. But yes, ice cream is not bad, but yogurt is a healthier choice. So it's not. So a lot of things in your life are not so much where you have to label them so quickly as negative, positive, right, wrong, good, bad. It just could be, this is healthier, this is healthy, this is unhealthy. So going back again, just to kind of bring us on to a close or whatever. I feel like I was a preacher for a moment. I'm getting ready to close real quick on y'all. we getting ready to go. But I hope that you all have been enjoying this already so far. I hope that you're also your wheels are spinning in your mind and you're thinking about certain things in your life where you may be living in the worst case scenario versus addressing it. So making the worst case scenario, we know, y'all, is what is healthy to think about it. We just don't want to live there. If I could leave one thing with you to resonate with you for the rest of this day, and also this weekend and going into the next week, and also just to remain with you in your life, recognize what could go wrong. Don't become a resident there. Recognize what could go wrong. Nothing wrong with that. Said the word again, y'all. Wrong. Recognize what could go wrong, but don't become a resident there. Look at what can be the worst case scenario, but then also look at what could be the best case scenario. Then also look at what could be ideal. So we're going to go from one extreme. Let's go from what's the worst thing that can happen. Then let's go to what's the best thing that can happen. And then let's look at the ideal right in the center. What's most likely to happen in this? So I hope that you all have enjoyed this evening. Again, if you have nothing else that you leave with today, we don't live in what could go wrong. But we like to we can visit there. We just don't live there. That's good. I just thought about that. Yeah, that was good to me. That was good. That was good to me. It was. I thought about some things on in my own life, y'all. But we don't have to live there, but we can visit there just so we can plan. Give us some level at the and again, we talk about, I don't know why I need to say this, but sometimes too, uh, people can be labeled as controlling and as if they need to know every single thing and they need to they have to plan for the worst. It has to be the worst. But those are types of people that probably had control taken away from them as children, as adolescents, and even as young adults, where they didn't have a lot of say. Things happened and they had no autonomy. And so they're always constantly a person who can be seen as controlling, maybe a person who's always needing to make sure they create a level of security, stability. Um, it's another one that I'm hearing in my head, but I'll stick with that. But they want to make sure they're creating a level of security and stability for themselves and safety. So security, stability, and safety for themselves because they haven't always felt those things in the hands of other people. So when it comes to their own lives, they can feel the need. They need to know everything, and they might be labeled as controlling, but they're not. They just need to have some level of stability, safety, and security for themselves. So without further ado, I want to thank all of you all for coming in on today, y'all. I got some stuff up my sleeve and I can't wait to get it to you. I hope that you all have an amazing rest of this Friday and also wherever you're watching, whenever you're watching, whatever time, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, midnight, whatever, or wherever you are around the world. I just ask that you all continue to show up for yourself, love yourself, be good to yourself, be good to other people. Also, remember the importance to being open, honest, and vulnerable, not just with other people, but being open, honest, and vulnerable with yourself. Sometimes looking in the mirror is hard because that's the person you're going to face all the time. So at least make it a point to create that safe space for yourself to be open, honest, and vulnerable. Y'all almost said I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. I'm not going to keep going. Y'all know that song, Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. If you don't know, now you know. But again, I hope that you all have an amazing rest of this evening and weekend. Y'all, we are in April. It's April the 4th. Let this month begin. We're in the beginning of this month. Start doing some things that scare you a little bit. Do some things that scare you a little bit, things you've never even done before, things you've been toiling about in your mind and your head, and you might have been thinking about the worst case scenario. You might have been living there. So it's caused you to be stagnant. It's caused you to be still. It's caused you to be maybe paralyzed. So let's get out of this paralyzed state and live, come up out of this worst case scenario mentality of residence. Let's touch it and then get out of it. Because there's so many things that you got to do and you're going to do and you have to do. Because not only are you depending on yourself, but so many other people are depending on what is inside of you. They're waiting on you. And they don't need you to continue to think about what's going to go wrong. They need you to see what could go right, what could be great, what could be exciting, what could be new, what could be a major change in my life. You might be one literal hour or so. You could make a move in an hour that could change your entire life. So, without further ado, I hope you all have enjoyed yourself. This is Joshua Lenox, and we are here on the Inspiration Station. Don't forget, it's not just me. You're an Inspiration Station. You are the Inspiration Station. Everything about you is something that can lead others to be inspired, to be their greater self, their better self, and go further than they've ever been because you're going to do it and you're already doing it. So I will talk to y'all soon. I'm getting up off of here. I'm gonna try to get outside and get to a quick walk, y'all. It was. I'm telling y'all, it was like Twister or something, like the movie Twister out here. But I think it's cleared up just a little bit, so I'm gonna try to get a little walk in. Hopefully, you all do the same. Move your body, y'all. Move your body. That's a part of emotional regulation, which we will talk about at some point. I'm not gonna jump into that because I'll be on here for about an hour. So I hope y'all have the best. Remember, do something good for yourself. but do something that's going to challenge you. Do something that might scare you just a little bit. You might be surprised. You might be surprised. And don't forget about that courage that you've always had in you, that fight you always had in you. You just might need it to be reignited. And let this be a start today. So talk to y'all, the Inspiration Station. See y'all next Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I shall be here. Never know, somebody else might be here with me too. We'll see. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks for watching The Inspiration Station with Joshua Lenox. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.